Day 3 of the NFL draft saw a run on the quarterback position, and the Minnesota Vikings are no exception as they take Jaren Hall, quarterback BYU, in the 5th round at 164th overall in the NFL draft. Joining us now, you will not find better insight on BYU sports than this man right here, my old buddy, Spencer Linton, host of BYU Sports Nation. How are you, my friend?
I am doing well, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. And I'm just going to throw this out there off the top, Pierre. I said on Friday on BYU Sports Nation, I called my shot. I said Jaren Hall to the Minnesota Vikings in the 5th round behind Kirk Cousins. Book it.
You hit this one right, and here we are with Jaren Hall as a member of the Minnesota Vikings. You got a front row seat to this young man, how he plays the game. For the fans here in Minnesota who have not gotten a chance to see him play, what kind of quarterback, what kind of person are we getting here in Minnesota?
An elite human being, and I don't toss that around lightly. And Jaren has earned every bit of that with his maturity, his even keel nature. He's been through it. You know, I asked him on Friday, what's your best asset, man? And he said, well, my best asset needs to be my availability. That is my greatest ability, is my availability. And I need to go to wherever I get drafted and show them I am durable. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be bought in 100%. And I'm just going to be there and ready to go if you need me. And I thought that was such a mature answer, but kind of a microcosm of who he is as an individual.
Yeah, and one of the things I read up on Jaren was the medical. You mentioned the ankle injury. How much did that really hold him back from what he was able to do?
He won't tell you how much it affected him. You got to go to people in his camp around him to find out just how big of a deal that was. But if Jaren Hall played the whole season, like even 80% healthy, BYU probably wins 10 games again. They just didn't have any faith or trust in the backup quarterback scenario at BYU. So they were kind of in a desperation scenario where it's like, Jaren, you're 60%, you're 65%. Okay, well, that still gives us the best chance to win. And that goes to show you his toughness. If he's 100%, Pierre,
sure.
I'm telling you, this dude is ultra athletic, capable of running a 4.5 40. He can scramble, he can extend plays, and he is super, super bought in on team.
What would you say about his dual threat ability?
Jaren, I feel like we got a glimpse of what he could do as a healthy runner. If you go back to early in the second half of last year's BYU game at Baylor with RG3 on the call, BYU on a 4th down and short called the okie doke, and Jaren Hall kept it and sprinted away from Baylor's defensive backs into the end zone. And I was like, whoa, like I know Jaren's fast, but my gosh, like he really showed his athleticism there. I don't like to make comparisons because I feel like each quarterback is kind of their own dude.
Sure.
But he kind of reminds me of Russell Wilson, but a little faster than Russell Wilson. Same build, a little bit taller actually than Russ. Has got a very strong arm. And I'm telling you, like you give him the maturity of Kirk Cousins and the stability of Minnesota's coaching staff and what's going on the offensive side of the ball, I feel like this is just a home run draft pick for the Vikings.
When you look at his game, what perhaps needs to get better as he moves into a pro career?
Yeah, well, we talked about earlier, he needs to prove his durability. Like he needs to show Minnesota that like he can get nicked up and it's not going to like totally railroad what he's going to be able to do or not do. And the second thing I would say, which he's been working on consistently with a guy I call the quarterback whisperer. His name is John Beck, former BYU guy, played for the Miami Dolphins, was drafted around into an awful situation, but still.
Correct.
Okay. Now he runs a business called 3D QB. He just trained Bryce Young. He just trained CJ Stroud. He works with Dak Prescott. Like he trains all types of NFL guys, and he has been working very consistently with Jaren and specifically on just seeing the middle of the field, the intermediate passes in the middle of the field a little bit better. Jaren is so good at attacking the edges, has great touch in the long ball, is good with his running backs in the short game and the checkdowns. The intermediate throws in the middle of the field is an area that he's going to need to work on. And I feel like that's something that Kirk Cousins and the staff in Minnesota can really help him do, along with his training that he's had with John Beck.
Does Jaren have the ability, in your opinion, to eventually mold himself into a starting quarterback in this league?
I believe he does, because of the maturity that we have referenced so much in this conversation. He has a quiet confidence. That's the best way I can explain it. He just carries himself with a quiet confidence. And when he's healthy, yes, the key will be keeping him healthy, learning for at least a year under Kirk Cousins. And then I would love to see Jaren Hall in year 2 or 3 step in and do his thing as a more matured, readied, prepared guy. Maybe take, for example, Jordan Love in Green Bay. They just, shipped out Aaron Rodgers. Love's been sitting there learning, growing. He's another guy that's from the state of Utah and Utah State. Jaren could be that Jordan Love type guy that steps into a bigger role in a year or 2.
Spence, my last question for you, though, is Johnny Harleen still open?
Forever. Beck the Harleen forever at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City.